Update Part 3 to 11-year wife, other parts down below. It's really tough staying on track. She keeps trying her best to sway me and twist things. I can see it clearly most of the time, but once in a while she tugs just the right emotional string and I waver. I cannot do that. I must stay the course now and keep on track. Having the whole town find out about a defiling sucks, but they don't know why. Only her and I do. It's as if she thinks anyone knowing about a defiling automatically reveals her affair. I've been thinking about this lately. She feels embarrassed and ashamed about what she did. But I feel those emotions can be somewhat selfish in nature because the person is worrying about themselves and how others see them. Although it is a good starting point for someone to realize they've done wrong. Sort of like an internal red flag. At one point years ago, I too felt shame for how I mistreated my wife. But that shame gave me the motivation to seek out professional help so that I could learn about myself and make changes to become a better person. Today I don't feel shame anymore. I do feel lots of regret, remorse and guilt for my part in the disintegration of our marriage. When she was telling me this morning that she wanted time to fix herself and she wants to keep us together. Blah. Blah, I asked her, does she even know what I want or need for that to happen? She replied, yes I do. I asked her how she knows. Does she read minds now? She hasn't asked me what it would take and I've seen no actions on her part so far. I even told her if she really felt this way. Why hasn't she done anything over the last 2 weeks since the most recent exposure? She didn't have an answer. I mean, come on now, if I was in her position. I would be jumping through hoops to get my attention. I'd throw away my cell phone, give up all email, provide all cell phone records, on and on. She's done nothing of the sort. She keeps running her damn mouth but doesn't act on anything or show any signs of doing anything to show me she understands the mountain of pain I've been through. I asked her over 3 weeks ago directly to provide me access to her cell phone records. And still nothing. So far, I haven't gotten even a little token of effort from her. Just her trying to cover her back and control what I'm doing. This is so exhausting. I'm stunned. My W and I just had an email exchange about my classic car that I just put up for sale. I have a hot prospect that's very interested in it pending some additional pictures. I emailed to tell her we may have a buyer soon. She emails back that we'll get by somehow and she doesn't want me to sell it. She knows it's important to me. So, I respond that I've done a lot of soul searching over the past few years and I've realized I'm too selfish and possessive about objects like my car and the house and I've learned I need to let some things go. Like her, she responds back she insists that I keep it and relinquishes all rights and claims to it. In writing. Well, isn't that very noble of her? In the end, it doesn't change the fact we have debts to settle and need money for attorney's fees and maybe a shared apartment. A thought just accrued to me, maybe this is some kind of test. If I immediately say, okay honey, I'll keep it, thank you, it proves that I'm still selfish. Or maybe she thinks it's some kind of peace offering from her to me, which I'm sure she will bring up later when she wants something that I don't agree with. Then she'll say, hey, I let you keep your car, I want this or that. Or maybe I'm overthinking the whole thing. I'm having second thoughts about this sharing an apartment idea 24 hours ago. It seemed great, my parents even like it. It does give the kids a lot of stability because they are staying put in the one place they know. But I'm wondering if it will involve too much interaction between the W and I. I mean, we'll be sharing a small apartment, one at a time of course, and swapping in out of the marital home on some kind of fairly equal schedule, but it feels like this arrangement will only prolong the divorce. If it works well, then why should she agree to settlement of our property and final deed, which will certainly put her in a bad spot financially? I mean, it seems to make it too comfortable for her. On the flip side, it is much more financially doable than supporting 2 separate households and will allow us to pay off debt and continue to pay down our mortgage. There would be rules and boundaries surrounding this arrangement. No or O in the house or apartment, no introduction to the kids in any manner. But what is the end game? I want a divorce and to be able to get on with my life, and this just feels like limbo. What do you all think? A lot of tension in the house today. My one daughter is clinging to her mom because she and I got into it last night over her bad behavior. She was teasing and tormenting her sister and I had told her several times to knock it off, but she kept doing it soon as I walked away. So, I snuck back and caught her red-handed and yelled at her to get upstairs, do her bedtime routine and go to her room. Well, I guess I scared her. She ran upstairs screaming for mommy, had an emotional meltdown at bedtime and is wary of me today so far. I've asked her to talk with me about it and asked the W to encourage her to talk to me, but she's not ready. I guess I'll just wait it out till she comes around. The D papers were mailed Thursday and they arrived at our post office today, but the W didn't make it over to the post office yet. She'll probably get them Monday. I looked at 2 apartments today, for myself. Not shared, and 2 houses. The apartments were nice but too expensive. The one house was okay. Good size, decent condition, but way too much yard work, more than I have now at my current house. The other house is very nice, 2-bedroom. 1 bath, full basement for storage, small yard, and it's privately owned. A couple bought the house. Totally renovated it with intent to sell and make some money. Then the market crashed, so they are holding onto it and renting to select people. I'm on that list. The price is within my budget range too, that's all for now. We had a good Sunday together, thank God. This morning my one daughter who was avoiding me just started talking like nothing happened between us. We did eventually sit down and talk about the incident. Exchange apologies and hugs. I have to credit my W. I asked for her help getting through to our daughter and she did help bring us together for a talk. My other daughter is a daddy's girl. She likes going places and doing things with me. We went to the car parts store to get a few things I needed to prepare my muscle car for sale. So, we had a couple hours together to ourselves. I enjoyed doing things with her. We just clicked very well. The guy interested in my car gave me a low-ball offer. I declined and counter-offered. My feeling is the deal is dead based on his questions and poor offer. The W and I talked a while about what's ahead of us. She's worried sick about her financial future and ability to support herself. It isn't going to be easy for her. Her standard of living is definitely going to suffer. We still agree we want to keep the kids in our house as best we can. I told her I don't need to have the house. I'm open to her buying me out, taking it over or selling it and splitting the profits. She seems to want to try and keep it. Unless she greatly improves her employment situation and gets her salary up in the mid to high 30s. She'll never be able to afford it. For me, I think the shared apartment idea is off the table. Too much interaction with her and leaves me wondering what's going on in the place. Right, I will continue looking for my own place more this week. So far, the one house close by is still my number 1 choice. The only thing holding me back from jumping on it is financial. I just made changes to my withholding and I want to see what the effect is on my take-home pay. The W told me today she's still upset I told my parents so much detail about our situation. I reminded her that I told them every terrible thing I had done as well and that my behavior played a major role in the failure of our marriage. She actually told me she feels shame and guilt about what she's done to our family and me. Wow. Haven't heard that before. I told her that as painful as those emotions are, it's good that she feels them. It means the fog is lifting and she's getting in touch with her moral center again. I told her she can diminish those feelings by taking positive actions to change her life for the better. Those feelings and others are what kicked me in the back to get the help I needed. If she can pull herself up, that's good for her and the kids, but it doesn't really change anything for me. The years of emotional abuse from her affair coupled with the death blow of the weekend in a hotel suite with our girls ended it for me. My W works in a local hospital doing intake admissions and lab scheduling. Well, my mom had to come in for blood work and it was a cold situation. W emailed me to say my mom was in and she saw her. Then turned away and ignored her completely. I asked my W what she expected. She replies that my mom's cold shoulder tells her how my parents are going to react to her. I said maybe it would have been better for her if my mom came over and jumped all over her $hit in a public place. We just replied it doesn't matter. It's over now. I explained to my W that I asked my parents to treat her cordially and with respect, even though she doesn't deserve it. Should they run into each other? No need for outbursts or shenanigans between adults. I did some internet research today about child support payments and temp alimony in my state. I ran the numbers and at first glance it looks like my wife could just get by staying in the house if I had to pay her child support and temp alimony. She'd have like $100 left over each month. Talk about squeaking by. I fare a little better after all expenses. I'm scheduling an appointment with my attorney to sit down and get more accurate numbers. Would it be wrong for me to trade her financial support, paying a little more than required by law, in exchange for the 50-50 custody I want? You're probably asking why do that? Well, I would like to get a custody agreement between us outside of the court system. I really don't want to drag my kids through interviews and hearings if I can avoid it. If she agreed, and we do this just during the D process, 3 months to 2 years, then the custody precedent is set and should it come to filing in court, I've got the upper hand since we've established status quo. The extra payment would only be temporary and outside the court system and agreed upon by her and I. If she files for child support or alimony, all bets are off and we do battle for the kids and minimum payout from me. That's what I'm trying to avoid, anything that will involve my girls and paying a lot of lawyer fees. I think I've got a pretty good handle on the child support and temp alimony payments by doing a lot of reading and research online. I will set up an appointment with my attorney to get his take and to see how close my numbers are. Housing update. I went to look at a half house at lunch today, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It's shaped like 2 small ranchers stuck together at a 30-degree angle in the middle with a 2-car garage on each end. I had dismissed it because it was just over my budget limit by a little. One of the realtors I'm working with asked me about it. When I told her the rent was on my high side, she tells me I need to consider other factors. It has a well and sand mound, so no water sewer bill. And all outside maintenance is by the owner, also. It's half a mile from where my kids live and in the same school district. When I saw the inside, I knew this was the one. It's less than 10 years old with only one former tenant and everything is immaculate. Walls are nice. Carpet looks new. Ceramic tile in the kitchen and bath. Newer, modern appliances, and it's vacant, ready to move into. Now if I could only get the 50-50 custody situated with my W, I could get the duck out of my current emotionally tormented situation. We finally picked up her divorce papers at the post office today. Didn't say anything about them to me though. She didn't bring the wage info I asked for, so no budget talks tonight. I printed out 2 articles I found on the web about the advantages and benefits of joint custody. She read them and then asked what I had in mind. I told her 50-50 with some kind of shared schedule that equals out our time. She has no clue. Hasn't done any research or even much thinking about how we can do this. I told her I was playing around with different schedules today and had an example to show her. It was a 1 week on, 1 week off type, which splits up the kids' time pretty equally. Well, because of her work hours, she doesn't get home till 6:30 p.m. So, her week she gets the girls to school. Then I get them after school for 2 HRS before she gets home. Then on my week I adjust my work hours so I take them to school and have a sitter for 1 hour before I get home at 5:30 p.m. So, since I get to see the girls each late afternoon during her week, because I'm getting them off school and watching them till she gets home, I wrote in an overnight for her during my week to balance things out. Well, she saw that I would see them Monday to Friday during her week and she doesn't during my week, but gets an overnight. She flips out on me saying that won't work. She doesn't get to see them on my week. It's too long without them and so on. Not true, since she gets an overnight, but to her that's not the same as me seeing them 2 HRS each weekday. I told her I don't have to watch them. We can get a sitter. But by then her mind had closed off and she's just pissed off. I told her it's just a draft and we can work out details, but she wasn't in the mood to talk. She tells me it's a lot to think about and she needs to see her attorney before deciding. I know what she will do. She'll say she wants primary custody and ask if she can get it. The attorney will tell her yes, she can, and that will be her position. In the meantime, my number 1 realty choice is on the open market and I could lose it, and my number 2 choice will be on the market in 2 weeks. I'm going to have to just file for custody or risk losing out on 2 nice housing opportunities. But doing that will open up a hornet's nest with her. Life sucks sometimes. Last night in bed she tells me she got the D papers. She thought there would be more to them. What the hell? She also says to me she is scared about the future. She asks me, "Do you know how much you've done for me over the years?" "No crap, Sherlock," I respond. "Actually, yes, I do realize how supportive I've been. That's what makes what you did even harder to understand. You threw away a pretty good life." She pauses and replies, "Just like your alcohol addiction. I got caught up in an emotional addiction and I didn't know how to break out of it." She again tells me how upset she is I told my parents. She says, what if, down the road, we get back together? She says now she will always be the enemy. I reminded her that I spilled all my bad stuff too. She says it's not the same because I'm their son. True, I'll give her that one. She says we need this separation to figure ourselves out. I tell her I've figured out what I want, and that is to be out of this marriage and move on with my life. And that's where we left it. We just found out I have my own bank accounts. She's fuming mad right now. Says I'm cutting her off. Says she wants the keys to our house now. Yeah, right. Says get my own PO box, I can't use our old one. She says she wants keys to my place. The one I don't even have yet. On and on she ranted. I changed my direct deposit to my new account, but during the changeover they issue a paper check. She found that in our mail and asked me why, so I told her I have my own accounts. That's when she went off. I reassured her no one is getting cut off. I still have to support the household and our children, which means for the time being I must still pay the bills. I told her calmly that she can have all the autonomy she wants as soon as she signs the D papers. Assumes all responsibility for the house she will be living in and I'm moved out. Seems simple to me, I said, until that happens. I still have access to our marital home and will continue to support my family. Then she tangents off to furnishings. She tells me you know all the furniture we got while we were married, so you can't just take some of it. Wanna bet? My great-grandmother and grandmother willed to me a bedroom set and dining room table. Those are going with me, but the majority of the furniture will be staying with her except for these few items. I'm a nervous wreck at the moment. She got me all stirred up. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. We found her cell phone. I saw it plugged into the wall charger last night. She didn't say one word to me about it. Not that she found it or any apology for accusing me of taking it. Pretty much what I expected. I had an IC session last night. It had been almost 3 weeks since I last saw him. I filled him in on all the drama with the hotel suite. My kids and me filing for D. He was absolutely stunned and horrified at what she did. Last time we had talked it was right after our first restart of MC and there was some hope at that time. He's well aware of her antics and behaviors over the years since I've been seeing him. But this one took the cake. He fully supports my decision to D and get away from this crazy woman. Yep, that's what he called her. Crazy. We both agree she has some serious mental and emotional issues going on that need to be dealt with in therapy. The poor woman needs help, but she can't see any of this from within herself. It makes me sad because I still love her, but I cannot continue with her in a toxic relationship. Sometimes I think about all the emotional trauma she's caused me and the damage it's done. I feel scarred inside. What effect will this have on my next relationship? Will I be able to trust another woman with my heart and my love? Well, that's not something I need to worry about short term, right now. I need to stay focused on my girls and separation. I'm not doing so well today emotionally. My 12th wedding anniversary is tomorrow and I'm really hurting inside for the loss of my marriage and the coming destruction of my family. She asked me today what my plans were. I told her I have no plans, no place to go. Can't get a place until we reach some kind of agreement on a parenting plan. Then she says, well, you know what I want, which pissed me right off. I told her she doesn't deserve an ounce of what she wants after what she's done. She replied, there you go again getting upset. We won't be able to work anything out with you acting like that. I had to get up and leave the room before I did something I would regret. She took one of our daughters and went 2 hours north to visit her mom overnight. My other daughter stayed with me and she invited her best friend over for a sleepover. The two friends are having a great time. We went out to Friendly's for supper and to a real nice local playground. Right now, they are playing games till bedtime. This afternoon, after the W and daughter had left, I went into our bedroom to get the phone and saw a large lump under the bed covers. When I pulled back the comforter, there were 4 boxes of taffy, chocolates, fudge, and macaroons with a note. The note read, these were supposed to be a gift. Hope you enjoy them. What the duck? During our family vacation in July, we ran out of time to get taffy while we were at the beach and I was disappointed we didn't buy any. She knows I love saltwater taffy. But come on. What the hell am I supposed to do? Dive in face first and pig out on all this candy? I just piled it up on her nightstand for when she comes home from her mom's. There's no way I can eat any of that stuff after what's happened. Update: W and daughter came home from her mom's late Sunday, our 12th anniversary. We didn't talk at all that night. Then yesterday was Labor Day holiday and we were both off work at home with the girls. We only said a few words. Just enough to talk about supper plans and some of the girls' schedule this week. She did a lot of cleaning, doing things she hasn't done in 2 years like pulling out the frig and stove, moving the dining room furniture to clean behind, and lots of laundry. We avoided each other most of the day. Our daughters wanted to have a family game night, so they picked out a few games and the 4 of us played together. They had fun, but it was torture for me. My heart just wasn't into it, knowing that this is all probably going to end this month. It was bittersweet. I have an appointment with my attorney this afternoon to go over child support, temp alimony, and some other issues. I've been running financial numbers till I'm blue in the face. She's given it very little thought. I guess since I filed for D, she thinks I should work out all the details. It would be much better for us all if she would talk sensibly with me about the money and custody issues. Otherwise, I'll have to just file with the court system and then let her defend her position if she desires to do so. What really hurts me is she is so irrational, illogical, and overly emotional in her thinking that I can't get through to her on very important issues. For example, she doesn't understand that even if she got the max allowed by law for child support and alimony, she won't have enough income to sustain the household. In 2 or 3 months she'll start going under and not be able to make the mortgage or other bills. That really bothers me because if she fails, we could lose our house. So then I either let it happen, let her fall hard, at expense of our kids, or I once again prop her up to keep the house going. Keep our kids in their house and not lose our shirts from a forced sale of the house. She's so unreasonable, and she knows she has some limited control over me by doing what she does. The best scenario would be for me to stay in the house, her to get her own place, and we share the kids 50-50. But in her mind that situation lets me win or win her in some way, and she refuses to allow that, so we are deadlocked at the moment. W and I haven't been able to talk more than 5 to 10 minutes on anything regarding the D and its outcome. She goes off quite easily and isn't open to logical thinking about the whole situation. The only thing in her mind is the kids should stay with her and they should stay in the marital home. And I get $hit. I lose equal access to my children, the house I designed and built before we met, my classic car I bought before we met, half my retirement account, and so on. I am having an extremely difficult time rationalizing all this, and it's eating me up inside. She had the affair, betrayed her husband and children, and comes out pretty good in the end. It's just not right, damn it. It should be the other way around. I'm in the house with the kids and she gets her own place. But there is no means of recourse to make this happen. I filed a no-fault divorce because all the evidence I have about the affair isn't admissible in court. I want the D and she is hell-bound to delay it to the very end for her own advantage. Up to 2 years, so once again I'm in limbo land for a long period of time, just like the 3 years of her affair. But this time I'll be looking in from the outside. Now I know how some normally sane people can go postal. How much is a person supposed to take? Update: I had a follow-up meeting with my attorney yesterday. He basically confirmed the child support and temp alimony numbers I had worked up. There would be some fine-tuning by the court, but I'm within a few dollars. Close enough to realize I'm screwed. Oh well, guess that's my punishment for getting married to a psycho cheater. He confirmed that I'm stuck living with her until either we agree on a custody arrangement or I file for custody. If I file, she will get served custody papers. First there will be a conference with me, the W, and a family court judge to see where we stand and try to reach an agreement. If we can't agree by the end of that meeting, then a hearing is scheduled which would involve counsel and an interview of our girls by the judge, followed by a court session without the kids to determine custody. Neither one of us wants to put our kids through this. But again, we are at an impasse right now. My attorney keeps telling me to work it out. How can I do that when my W doesn't think logically or practically about things? All her thinking is emotion-based. I haven't been talking to the W over the past few days except for short sentences about the kids or their schedule. Last night I texted her asking for us to talk again about custody and finances. She didn't respond to the text, but when she got home, she says to me, "So you don't talk to me for days and now you expect me to just strike up a conversation?" To which I responded, my conversations are strictly limited to our girls and finances. I don't want to talk about how her day at work was, about the weather or anything else. So, we start discussing custody. She points out why her solution is best, why it's in the best interest of our kids. So, I asked her if she had the best interest of our girls in mind while she was having a long-term affair or while she was seeing the OM in the same hotel suite with our kids. You know what response that got? She immediately came down on me, saying this is always my response, to ridicule, put her down, start a fight, etc. I responded that I'm only speaking the truth. I'm not yelling or name-calling, I'm calmly pointing out that her statements are hypocritical. I tell her that her words don't match her actions. Hypocrite. Next, we discuss finances. She wants us to refinance our mortgage and home loan to spread it out over 15+ years and lower the monthly payments, to her advantage when she takes over the house. I told her that's not possible because there is a pending declaim filed. That infuriates her even more. She tells me I planned this. That I intentionally screwed her over. Yeah, right. That was my evil plan all along. I also explained to her that our date of separation as defined by law was the day she signed for the D papers, August 30th. And that any debt incurred by her after that date is hers alone. Now she's really fuming that I won't be responsible for her spending anymore. She asks some questions why, how, and I try to explain the statutes to her. Well, all this conversation and loud speaking drew the attention of our daughters who were downstairs in the family room. They snuck up the stairs and listened in for a few minutes. They heard some of our talk, heard us mentioning divorce, separation, daddy moving out and such. Daughter 2 throws open the door with daughter 1 following while crying. She starts saying, "Don't get divorced, daddy, don't move out, we must remain together in this house. Not apart," she says. "If you get D, you will find other people to love, and she doesn't want a step-parent. She says if I move out, she and her sister won't have a dad anymore." And on she goes for several minutes. W and I are caught off guard but recover quickly, realizing they still think we are only talking about D and not in the process of it. So, we ask them some questions about how they feel. W asks them, what if daddy moves out? What if he's just down the street, 2 minutes away? You can still see mommy or daddy every day. Both girls stand their ground, saying that's not good enough. They want both of us. 2 parents in the same house with them. They don't want other people in their lives, no step-parents or boyfriends, girlfriends. Daughter 1 explains that a family is supposed to be whole, not split apart. By now I'm starting to fall apart. My heart is breaking apart in my chest. W is crying, girls are crying. We share some hugs and W tells them we are just talking and everything will be alright. We will still love them with all our hearts. Daughter 2 turns to daughter 1 and says, "Come on, let's go finish our project so mom and dad can talk." And they head back downstairs. I'm at the point I can hardly breathe. My chest is so tight. I have to leave for a while, get away. I grab my keys, tell my girls I'm going to get the mail and will be back soon. Soon as I get out of the driveway, I completely lose it. I'm bawling my eyes out, screaming at my W, pounding the steering wheel. I pull over in a parking lot because I cannot drive in this state. I cry for a good 15 minutes and then it stops and I just went numb. I sat there for an hour waiting for some kind of feeling to return, some spark of motivation to move, drive, do anything. Finally, I started the car and drove back home as there was nothing else left to do. The girls heard the garage door open and were waiting for me inside with their project. It was a picture they created on the computer of 2 people getting married with flowers all around them. They found an old picture frame and framed it. They told me the 2 people were mom and dad getting married and living happily ever after. I thanked them for the wonderful gift and we went upstairs to get ready for bed. W said nothing to me at bedtime or this morning. I have nothing to say to her. We're deadlocked on custody. I see no alternative except for me to file and run this through the courts. I just cannot get myself to accept second place, take a backseat when it comes to my kids. I'm an extremely capable, fully involved dad and I want my equal time with them. Sorry for the novel, it just really helps to get this all out and talk about it. I only have my parents and therapist every 2 weeks as a sounding board, so this place gives me another outlet for my pain. I'm going to file for physical custody of my twin girls next week. My attorney advised that I file for primary physical custody with the W getting every other weekend and some weekly visitation. He wants to start off at the top so we can then negotiate down to what I really want, which is 50-50. I understand the concept of asking for more than you need, then compromise for what you wanted in the first place. But he doesn't know my wife. My asking for primary custody will set her off completely. Might make her go temporarily insane, and set the stage for an all-out custody war. I'm reluctant to set up that kind of a conflict. On the other hand, if I go in asking for 50-50, then I have no wiggle room to negotiate and could end up with less than I want. I don't know, it's a goddamn chess game. What do you all think? Experiences. Stories to tell. My comment. I'll try to shorten this series a little bit and finish it soon. What advice you got for OP? Check out the other parts and let me get back